Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Arrests over the alleged corruption at the European Parliament are very, very worrisome. That's according to the EU's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell.
So today the World Cup in Qatar is a proof, actually, of how sports diplomacy can achieve a historical transformation of a country.
Among the arrested was European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili, believed to be one of those charged. Prosecutors suspect a Gulf state, reportedly Qatar, tried to influence Parliament by donating money or gifts. Qatar has denied misconduct. No suspects have been publicly named, but Ms. Kaili is understood to be among those who have been indicted. Members of the European Parliament say the credibility of the European Union is at stake in the case.
Certainly the news are very worrisome, very, very worrisome. We are facing some events, some facts that certainly worries me as a former president of the European Parliament also.
It is a question of confidence of people into our institutions, and this confidence and trust into our institutions needs higher standards and of independence and integrity.
Emergency services say a hypermarket in the Moscow region was damaged in a major fire, the second such blaze in less than a week. Firefighters battled the large blaze at a construction supplies hypermarket in Balashikha, a satellite town of 500,000 people on the outskirts of the Russian capital. The ministry said the fire had grown to 9,000 square meters before being brought under control. On Friday, a fire at a large shopping centre in the Moscow suburb of Khimki killed one person and consumed an area of 7,000 square meters. Iran says it has carried out a second execution linked to the anti-government protests engulfing the country. Majid Reza Ranavard was hanged in public early on Monday in the city of Mashhad, the judiciary announced. A court convicted him of the charge of enmity against God after finding he had stabbed to death 2 members of the paramilitary Basij resistance force. Human rights groups have warned the protesters are being sentenced to death after sham trials with no due process. Peru's new president, Dina Boluarte, is proposing bringing general elections forward by 2 years to April 2024 amid ongoing political tension. In a televised address to the nation early on Monday local time, Ms. Boluarte said she would submit a bill to Congress to hold elections in April 2024 instead of April 2026. She also declared a state of emergency in areas where protests have erupted. 2 teenagers were killed in clashes between demonstrators and police in the southwestern Apurimac region. At least 1 person has died after torrential rains triggered floods in the Mediterranean Turkish province of Antalya. Several buildings were inundated when downpours caused the streams to overflow their banks while cars were swept away. In Kumlaka, local authorities used loudspeakers to warn locals to stay at home or in safe places on higher ground. Power outages also affected the district. In Kumluka and Finike, schools were closed on Monday due to the floods. And Londoners have enjoyed the sight of the capital's parks covered with snow after a cold snap resulted in heavy snowfall, disrupting airports, roads and train networks. The weather did not deter those on a morning run through snow-covered Hyde Park and Green Park, while the park's swans attempted to swim through frozen waters. Operations in many parts of the city's underground network were either suspended or faced delays. The Met Office issued a yellow weather warning for snow and ice in London and southeast England, with ice and fog warnings in other parts of England and the whole of Northern Ireland. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.